Okay, Algebra 1, here are some examples of how to solve systems of equations by elimination. And the first examples that you have on, or the first problems that you have on your worksheet are going to have it to where you can eliminate right away. And what you're doing here is we're adding vertically. So we're going to be looking for something, we're going to be looking to add down in each, we're going to be looking to add down in each column. So these are the columns we're looking at. And we want to make sure that we can eliminate one of our variables, either our x's or our y's. And if we were to add this column right here, negative x and positive x, that would eliminate those because you'd get 0x and that would be nothing. So we can just do this one without doing anything to them. Negative x plus x makes those go away. And then we add this column, so 3y plus 5y is 8y. And then we add this column, 2 minus 10 is negative 8. And then we solve for y. So we divide them both by 8. And so y equals negative 1. So I'll put that in my ordered pair, negative 1. And now what I need to do is I need to take that value for y and plug it into either one of my equations. And I'm just going to pick one, so I'll just use the top one. And so I have negative x, what happened to my pen? Oh, there we go. Negative x plus 3 times negative 1 equals 2. So 3 times negative 1 is negative 3, so I have negative x minus 3 equals 2. Add 3 to both sides, and I get negative x equals 5, which means x equals negative 5. So then I put that in my ordered pair, and that's my answer. Looking at the next example, this time if we look at our x's and our y's, we don't see anything that will eliminate because negative 3x and negative 3x would make negative 6x. Those added together would make negative 4y, and then those don't matter. But so what we can do is we can multiply one of the equations by something that will give us something that will eliminate. And if we multiply, I'll use the top equation, and if I multiply it by negative 1, what happens is that will turn this negative 3x into positive 3x, and I'm just going to write it underneath. So I'm multiplying the whole equation by negative 1, which means I need to multiply positive 4y times negative 1. So that gives me negative 4y. And then the 2 times the negative 1, so that gives me negative 2. I'm going to cross off this equation because I just changed it. Excuse me, guys. Okay, so then we add algebraically, and negative 3x plus 3x makes that eliminate. And then we add the negative 8y minus 4y, which gives us negative 12y. And 14 minus 2 is 12. Divide by negative 12 will give us y equals negative 1. So then we're going to plug that back into either, or any of the equations actually. You can use any of the three equations that you have now, because all of them have x and y as the same thing. And I'll just go back up to my top equation and use that one. So negative 3x plus 4 times negative 1 equals 2. And then 4 times negative 1 is negative 4. And then I would add 4 to both sides. And I end up with negative 3x equals, that would cancel out, equals 6. So if I divide it by negative 3, x would equal negative 2. So then that's the solution. Looking at this last example, you see that we can't, if we tried to add vertically on any of these, it would not cancel out. So what we do is we look for what could we multiply by. Well, if I think I want to try to eliminate the y's, 4 goes into 12 right here. So if I multiplied negative 4y times negative 3, that would make it positive 12, which would make it to where these two would eliminate. So I'm going to multiply this whole bottom equation by negative 3. I don't have to do anything to the top one. So 6x becomes negative 18x, negative 4y becomes positive 12y, which was our goal, and negative 6 times negative 3 is positive 18. So that lets me cancel that out. And so you guys might have been looking at the x's, and you could have eliminated by multiplying the top equation also by negative 3, because that would have made the 2x and negative 6x. But this is how I did it, so we'll work with that. Now we're going to add the 2x and the negative 18x, and that's negative 16x. These two cancel out, and negative 2 plus 18 is 16. So divide by negative 16, And we get x equals -1. Seems like that's a common answer. It's our first one each time. So that's x this time, so it goes there. And then I will plug that in. Let me erase all this. So x equals -1. I'll go back to my beginning equation and plug -1 in for the x. So that means 2 times -1 minus 12y equals -2. That makes that -2 minus 12y equals -2. Add 2 to both sides, and something looks wrong. This worked when I did it, but this one ends up looking like a fraction. I must have made a mistake somewhere. Oh, no, I didn't. Okay. So -12y equals 0, because -2 plus 2 is 0. So then if I were to divide by -12, 0 divided by -12 is just 0. So that is the answer, -1, 0. And that's it. If you have any questions, just let me know. I'll be happy to help.